Right, welcome everyone to another episode of the Love Island Casts. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Phelps, and my co-host and very, very good friend is Mr. Dave Horrocks.
Hey there, Chris. It's great to be back again after chilling on a Saturday and back and ready to go on a Sunday.
Well, Dave, that was actually more airtime than Craig David got. Considering...
Oh, you fucking stole my line. There's as much airtime on our podcast as he got in the show, so that's about the only Craig David reference we're going to have.
Sorry, Dave. What a load of bullshit that was. He built the fucker up, and he was literally getting a little bit of mic work, waves to everyone, and then he's fucking out of there. I was like, come on, it's fucking rubbish.
I guess the only thing it says is, there's a lot going on in the villa that we never see.
Yes, and I think, again, I put a few tweets out. They're obviously going to save it for the unseen Saturday programme, which to me is a bit of a waste, to be fair. But you could see by the way they shot him dancing and that, they've obviously had to redo the dancing because that camera work was not authentic or realistic, was it?
Yeah, it's like a music video, wasn't it? It's just... I don't get the point of any of it, to be quite honest. But, let's move on, shall we? Because that was about as interesting as it was.
There's plenty to talk about, Dave. So what would you like to talk about first?
I mean, I think we have to start with the return of the double dates, don't we? And I think I've got a feeling you might be a little bit like a boiled kettle. And so I'm going to take the valve off and away you go, Chris.
Yes, Dave, you are correct. The boiling point was reached last night with myself. The person I want to speak about, her name begins with an A and ends in an A. I don't care what team you are on. You cannot condone what Anna has done, especially yesterday. That girl, not only did she throw Danny under the bus when Danny got with Arabella, and she's fucking slated him with Amber, because Joanna had gone, so her bed isn't even warm and all, he's disgusting. Fuck me, at least Joanna had left the actual villa. Fucking Jordan, because Ovie was basically standing up for himself going, you know what, I ain't fucking putting up with this shit. I'm a fucking adult. And she went straight on Jordan and put it on him, which conveniently she actually forgot to mention when she was having a go at Ovie and blaming the whole thing on him the next day. For me, Dave, I don't care what anybody says. That girl is horrible and she needs to be fucking voted out. I know we're not at the stage where we can vote them out, but she's a disgrace. And all I'm seeing online is everyone going at her because talk about double standards. We've got triple, quadruple standards here. She talks over people. She's completely rude. Ovie was trying to explain to her what was going on. And obviously he lost his rag and said to Jordan, go and get your missus. And then Jordan's going, well, actually, she's always been my missus. Well, I don't think she was, pal, last week when she was in bed with fucking Ovie. Do you? Fucking idiot. So, Dave, I'm fucking fizzing. And I apologise to everyone listening, but she's just horrible. And I'm still sticking to with what I said. I want Amber to go and put it on Ovie and split that relationship up because I think Anna is toxic to Amber. I think she just riles Amber up. They're not friends. And Anna is not a friend that you want. She's horrible.
I think you're absolutely right. And I guess because we're commenting on each of the individual episodes, you can only go off people's behaviours. So generally, I think we talk about the behaviours. But as you build up more kind of data points, you start to get, a cluster of what someone is actually like. And I think, I think in my own mind, I'm looking back at that Amber and Michael blowout. And I do think, Michael was an absolute tit in that. But the whole situation escalated because of Anna. I think Amber would have continued to stew and just be upset in her own way, but it's Anna who wants to get in there and escalate everything. And I don't know what I can add. I think you've come up with some great points there. I've warmed to Jordan over the last few days, the way he's kind of taken the whole situation like a man. He's conducted himself with dignity. But I think that award goes to Ovie tonight, doesn't it? I mean, he said that one slightly silly thing, which is, Jordan, you can have her. And I guess you could interpret that as like, well, she's not a possession. But I think he just means, look, I'm fucking out of here. because again, she's doing the same thing that she's done before. She does that thing where she just talks over someone. And I think Ovie's done, pretty much what I do as well. It's just like, look, if you're just going to talk over me, it's not actually a conversation. So yeah, I'm going to walk away. And she walks straight to the girls and she's like, oh yeah, I can't be doing with his negative energy. So again, you're the fucking victim, aren't you? You're going off and you're blaming Ovie now. So the only problem is we've got to vote for a couple. And so if you could vote for who you want out, I think Anna would have a lot of votes, quite honestly. But that might also, that puts Ovie at risk. So it's like, oh, what do you do?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they're over now. And yeah, I think Jordan came off like a tool. I think I've warned to him. It remains to be seen. Is he going to still continue that same level of intensity that he's been showing when there's a fight on his hands? Or is he going to drop off again now that Ovie's going to direct his attentions elsewhere?
You know what, Dave? We and me and you have both been on and off the Jordan train. I felt really sorry for him with what Anna did to him last week. And I genuinely thought, you know what, I've been a bit hard on him. He come across really well. He took it like a man. He took it on the chin. But he's just coming across as a little weasel now. He's basically riding on the coattails of Anna, being just horrible. There's no excuse. There's people saying now, like, basically what we'd said from the start, and we're not, it's just an opinion you draw of somebody. You are exactly right. Michael was an absolute bellend for what he did. There's no excuse for that. I know we'll probably get onto that a bit later on with Joanna and Amber, but Anna is just a fucking joke, an absolute joke. And I know you can try and be positive and say, look, it's the fact you're in there, it's blah, blah, blah. But she has consistently done this. You can do it maybe once on a show like this, but when you are not just the cheating side of it, where she has Jordan off with Ovie, then she's now had Ovie off with Jordan, and within minutes of doing it, and it's like, no, you are out of order. But she's blatantly rude, Dave. Whenever she gets in an argument and someone calls her out, she fucking jumps all over them and talks over them. She has no opinion. And all Ovie did was try and reason with her. And he's like, and as soon as he said it, she just started talking. And then she was even admitting herself, I'm not talking, I'm not having that. I'll talk over you if I don't agree with what you're saying. And it's like, well, you're a fucking idiot. And no wonder you're single at 28 years old then if you're going to act like that, because that is just fucking childish. And Jordan, as I said before, he's an absolute cockhead. So he needs to go as well. He's gone in my head.
It was the fact that as well, it's, Anna's bringing up, oh, I heard you meant talking about Joanna, at this double date. And it's like, glass houses, all he did, that I thought, when Ovie first came in, I said, he seems a bit intense and, there doesn't seem to be much humour about him. But I think as we've seen more of him, he has got that real wicked sort of sense of humour. And I thought, him and Amber, I thought that date, there was quite a lot of chemistry there. All he's trying to do, Amber's just going through a bit of a shit time. And he was a top bloke, I thought, in that date. And to turn that round on him and say, oh, I heard you talking about Joanna. Are you fucking kidding me?
No. Because she sat in front of him on a date with Jordan. And as soon as Jordan said, I'm taking Anna, as we said, she jumped up like a prancing ballerina, didn't she? She was like, oh, yes, let's go. It's like, you are fucking deluded. She's just absolutely deluded. She's self-absorbed within her own fucking bubble, unfortunately, Dave. And if it doesn't go her way, it's everyone else's fault. But yet she will not look in the mirror. And there's a saying that I live by with most people is, if there's one finger pointing at you, there's usually two pointing back at them, because basically she's trying to point the finger at everyone else because she's been absolutely despicable. Again, though, Dave, it's fucking great TV because I'm screaming at the telly every night. Me and Sam are sat there and Sam's going, I'm fucking sick of her. She's a hypocrite. She's absolute double standards. And that isn't, from a man's point of view, I understand, we're saying this. We're not doing guy code sticking up for Ovie. I'm sticking up for bad behaviour. I'm going to speak about Curtis and that later on and stuff like that. But it's just fucking bad behaviour. It does not matter what sex you are. She's just a bad person.
Yeah, and I thought we did get an obligatory sporting reference from Ovie, didn't we? He was like, the big man is stepping out the game, But when the thing that really, hit me like an electric shock was, Ovie's clear. I mean, he's chilled as a newt, isn't he? But but he was wound up. And he'd said to Jordan, you just crack on with her. And it was the way, Jordan, it's just like at that point, can't you see that is the right time to just keep your fucking mouth shut, right? Just crack on with it in your own way. But you didn't have to go, yeah, well, I was doing it anyway. That's like, all right, okay, so I know I just can't fucking trust you then.
Yeah,
and it's just he came across like a twat there, I thought.
Yeah, he did. He's an absolute cockhead. And he's an idiot. Now, Dave, if I wasn't frustrated watching that little love triangle, then what I saw between Maura and Lucie with George and Marvin was an absolute fucking joke. I mean, that is just, again, nobody had any manners last night. It was absolutely disgraceful. They were like giggling, weren't they, Lucie? And I lost a lot of respect for Lucie. I mean, Maura's very much salt and pepper anyway, and you either like her or you don't. And I've been on Team Maura, and said I appreciate the fact she's
salt
honest.
Salt and pepper?
That's the only thing I could come up with, Dave.
I quite like both myself.
Oh, I do, yeah.
Marmite, maybe.
Maybe Marmite. Maybe that's what I meant. But anyway, forget the Chris analogy. I just thought, they were laughing, going, "Oh, let's, I've had enough, and then there's nothing going on." And they called him over, and I was like, "Wow, you've got no class whatsoever, no class. I know you've got to do it for TV. Pull them aside separately, and then meet up afterwards and compare notes if you really want to. But to sit there and do it, and even if they knew the inevitable was coming, because Maura's, said that they don't do anything, they don't kiss, they don't interact or anything." Fair enough, it's just take them to the side, let the cameras roll. But to do it together like that is just a fucking nonsense sort of thing, innit? It's like being 10 years old. And I just lost, for Lucie now, I lost total respect for her completely.
I think I had more tact at 10 years old, to be honest, though. I mean, it was just absolutely inconsiderate and showed a massive lack of respect from both of them. And, you could see, especially when Lucie was ostracized by the girls, Maura's the only one who doesn't really seem to give a fuck. She's on Team Maura, and fuck anyone else. You can either be on the bus or not. And I can't help but admire her from that respect. But, there's a lot of her behaviour tonight that I just thought, that's just very, very poor. And I did like that Marvin was like, he wasn't taking any of it lying down, was he? And she seemed shocked. It's like, no, that's not how it works. I tell you how it is. You don't tell me how it is.
Yeah. She gets nasty, doesn't she?
Yeah. And so, like you say, I think I'm at the point now with Lucie where it's just like, now, come on, you've had your free holiday. You've flitted around a bit. Now it's time to go.
Yeah.
And I think she's probably, old charismatic George there. She's going to be one of the ones who's going to be at risk tomorrow.
Yes, she is. But I did like George's reaction when Maura was giving it to Marvin and he's giving it back, and he turned, didn't he, and just burst out laughing to himself as if to say, I don't really give a fuck, to be honest. I think he knew it was coming. It's just acting a bit of class. And by doing that, Dave, I'll be honest with you, I voted for Tommy and Molly May. I don't like Molly May at all. I think she's so fake, but I really like Tommy. And as I keep saying, they're the only ones who are they're going to get dragged to the final by Tommy, unfortunately. I just think Molly May's dead insincere, but she's not doing anything wrong. And when you're watching the other couples, there's just shit show stuff going on all over the place. I mean, Anton and Belle are very vanilla, and I know we'll talk about that later, but I haven't got anything in that race at all. I'm not really bothered about them as a couple or as people, really. I like Anton because he's daft, but I think Tommy and that, for me, are going to get to the final at least, Dave, because no one else at the moment showing any strength as a couple.
I could see Tommy and Molly May getting about 90% of the public vote.
Yeah.
And then the other couples are going to spread out that remaining 10%. Because as the couples were coming up, I was thinking, oh, yeah, those two are technically coupled. So like Anna and Ovie, and it seemed everyone that came up, Danny and Jordan. Well, Jordan's the biggest fucking shit stirrer I've seen in that place. And Danny, he popped up next to Jordan, and it's like, oh yeah, Danny's still there. So, they're going to be at risk as well. But I got to the end, and I'm same as you. I don't trust that Molly May, to be honest. And I still hear people go, oh, when she broke down, I'm still not having it. I might be wrong, but I don't think I am.
No, I don't think you are.
That's where my vote had to go. It's like the only real choice there for me.
Yeah, as well. And then again, Dave, I've got to say, poor Amy is getting absolute. As much as I keep saying I don't like her, King Curtis is turning that knife in because Maura not only dumps Marvin, she then has a crack at Curtis, doesn't she? And he says about, I did drop you a message on Instagram. I don't read them. I don't remember it. Stuff. So she was honest there, but straight away, let's do a bit of dancing. So do a bit of dancing right in front of Amy, right in front of all the girls. Lucy's egging her on. Lucy was shit's doing it. She's going, I'd be
she went across with him, didn't she?
Yeah. So, I'll come across and I'll just crack on like we're going to, mention something about dancing so it doesn't look too obvious. And it was like, wow, you absolute bitch. She must hate Amy that much, which we know they clashed. They've had plenty of arguments the first couple of weeks. And then poor Amy was just broke. Her voice was cracking and everything. And Curtis is definitely going on to more of the train. Now, I've got a new name for a day, which they did put on Twitter. She is DFS. Because she's the girl who goes in DFS and gets in every single bed until she decides which one she's going to make because she's going to buy because she's fucking had a go at literally all of them. So I'm hoping that she does a buy now, pay later scheme with Curtis and there's actually something there because she's going to be on her way out the way it's going.
Possibly. I'm just baffled by that whole thing. Like I say, I like the way she doesn't seem to give a shit about anything and she's on her own bus and fuck the rest of you. But, that stinks a little bit tactical, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Sadly, it does. And I don't know. We'll just have to see how it plays out. But again, great TV, Dave. Like you say, the fact she don't give a shit is a very, very endearing thing about her. But it also puts her in some really, really stupid situations because she just doesn't care about anybody's feelings. I suppose when you watch it from a human element, it's wrong. But from watching a TV perspective, it's fucking great TV because she literally just does not care if she offends. So I think it's one of them. I'm sort of criticising her, but you wouldn't be watching it if she was just being normal and sat there like, I love him. Yeah, really into him. But she's absolutely just every episode, there's something new comes out from her.
Yeah. What's he going on about, though? I tweeted out that, when Curtis said, well, you are a lovely young lady. I'm like, you're fucking 50 years old or something. She's like 23, for fuck's sake. She's older than you.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just a bell end, isn't he? And no tact whatsoever. And no, unfortunately, I think if Amy had her way, she'd be mourning the death of that relationship for the remaining 3 weeks that we've got left. So he kind of has to crack on or he's going to be voted off. But it just seems a little bit soon. And wasn't it in that conversation they had with the list? Amy was like, I've asked you to dance for like 2 weeks every single day. And he's like, no, that's not true. And then he's like, yeah, that is true, actually.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So given that, it's like, come on, this must be twisting the knife, surely.
That's what I'm saying. It's just bad behaviour again, isn't it? It's just pure bad behaviour. And Curtis weaseling his way out. The only thing, like you said, with this Maura thing, which is just a total curveball like nobody saw coming at all, because there's been no interactions as far as we could see, unless it's not been edited in, is that she thinks that Curtis is the strongest person to the general public. Or maybe when she came in there he was, because he was in that couple with Amy. Maybe she's taking a punt thinking, well, I think the public absolutely love Curtis, but they don't like Amy, because she was about a week into it. So maybe in her head, that's what's sticking, thinking, well, if I get with Curtis, the general public are going to love me. That's the only in my head, that's the only logical thing I can think is why she's just done this.
I mean, it could be that. It could be just she's got that fucking short attention span. So, she said in the fucking diary room, it's like, me and Curtis, we're going to get married, he just doesn't know it yet. She seems to fast forward to like 6 months into a relationship. And then as soon as she's been there for a couple of days, she couldn't give a fuck. She's not asked. And so she's like, I'm bored now. I want to go to the next person. So it could be the kind of reflected glory she feels like he might have. Or it could just be, well, he's the next one. Grab your ticket. So, grab your ticket and jump on the Maura train. And, it only lasts for 2 stops.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree, Dave. Now, let's talk about another love triangle, which I don't really care about, but we're seeing plenty of airtime on, is Michael, Joanna and Amber. And fair play to Joanna. She got Amber and Michael together to explain what's going on, find out what's going on. And Michael made it abundantly clear to Amber that there was nothing going on. He has no feelings for her, which I don't completely believe. But I've got to say, Dave, the more Joanna comes out of herself, and I did say this last night to Sam, she was definitely taking the piss in Casa Amor and just holding back, doing this sweetness and light act. Yeah. Now she's in there. She's gone all King Glenn Close. She's gone all like telling Michael he can't do anything, can he? You know, it's like we all slated Joe for doing that to Lucy, and she's telling Michael you're not allowed to speak to her, and that's like, you can't fucking do that. I'm sorry if you're that insecure, and the fact that she took Michael away from Amber. How can you complain?
She's coming across as feisty as Amber, isn't she, in some respects? And we've said this before about the kind of double standards and that, because Molly May was saying, you know, you should have boundaries with Lucy and whatever. And you know, so let's get past that one. I do think, you know, I'm a little bit confused by the whole situation. So again, multiple times, you know, Michael's been a dick. But I felt a little bit sorry for him in this scenario, because here's how events went in my head. Okay, so Michael completely out of order in that recoupling. Attacked Amber relentlessly and just didn't stop and was bang out of line. Fast forward like a couple of days, and then they have that chat on the beanbags. So for me, it should have been Operation Michael, fucking sort yourself out and apologize like a man. And it's kind of, he didn't apologize for that behavior. He kind of apologized for the recoupling, I guess, and the situation. They had some little jokes and that, and there was some smiles. And I thought, Amber, you know, since that whole recoupling, I think I've got nothing for sympathy for her. I can't really fault anything that she's done there. But going away from that chat, it seems to be Molly May who's been the prime culprit in the shit-stirring contest, because she started off, she's talking about, you know, how, you know, this relationship doesn't seem to be dead, and Joanna is sat right fucking next to her. So she's either really fucking stupid and insensitive, she doesn't realise she's sat there, or, you know, she's trying to play games at shit-stirring. Because, you know, for me, that chat was about apologizing. You know, if you turned up, Chris, at home with another woman, and, you know, you said, I'm about to leave home, I've just met someone. Well, first of all, I'd question your ability to get out of the house alive. But second, assuming that you did, there wouldn't be a conversation of reconciliation, would there? You know, no. So for me, Michael didn't have to just say, you know, in a brutal way, you know, like say Curtis did to Amy, where he said, you know, I just can't see having kids with you or getting married. You know, and everyone sort of saying, wow, crikey, that was brutal. But because Michael hasn't said something like that, it's like the door's seemingly open. And, you know, all the girls are in Amber's ear. It's like, look, I don't see they've got a connection, Joe and Michael, and, you know, there might still be a chance and whatever. So, you know, Joanna's pressing Michael, and, you know, well, does she know it's over? It's like, well, yeah, of course she knows it's over. I'm with you, and that's that. But, you know, when Joanna pulled them for a chat, she's sort of saying to Michael, can I have you over here? I need a chat. And then she goes to Amber, it's like, Amber, can I have a quick chat with you? Yeah. It's like, you know what attitude she's going into that meeting with. And in the end, you know, Michael's kind of ganged up a little bit on. I think Joanna's like, oh, yeah, well, maybe in future, you know, it's like he's going for a job interview that he didn't get. Maybe in future you should be a little bit more precise about your language. And I can kind of see both sides, but I am left a little bit thinking, I don't really see that much what Michael did. But the whole thing says to me that Joanna isn't really that person I don't think Michael thinks she is. And I honestly, I don't see them working. No, I don't. I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Dave. There's just something not right about her. She's played him very well, to be honest. Very well. Yeah. We'll have to just see how that plays out, because it again,
it's a little simmering thing in the background, but she certainly can't dictate to him for much longer the way she is, because that Michael, if he does, considering he's supposed to be the real Michael now, he's supposed to be growing a set. So let's see if he actually sticks to his word on this, because I've lost a lot of respect for him, and I think Amber has got an argument. I've actually just watched part of the after sub before we recorded, Dave, the first half hour, and they mentioned about the fact that he actually was flirting with her. So I haven't watched the rest of it yet, but again, I think Amber has got a case. So we'll see how that one plays out. So Dave, we have had another review, haven't we, from one of our great listeners?
We have.
It was from James Elliott, 18. Thanks, James, as well. It's entitled Great Pod, and he's given us a 5-star review, so thank you very much. And it reads, you guys are hilarious. Look forward to the pod every day. What's your opinion on Anton and Belle?
So, yeah, I agree. Thank you very much for that. Anton and Belle, I think from my perspective, I've just never been bought into Belle. I think she played a cracker. You know, she didn't really have a connection with Anton, but she jumped into bed with him, gave him a little bit of physical attention, and then they've been coupled up. But considering right at the start, I thought Anton was a bit of a knob, and then I went from thinking that to, yeah, he's a bit of a knob, but he's actually quite funny, to actually Anton, he's an absolute legend. And now I'm just like, yeah, you're a little bit dull now. It's like she's taken the shine off Anton kind of thing. And I still don't believe she actually has that connection with him. Little bit surprised on the unseen bits to see her shaving his arse. You know, but apart from that, I don't really see anything there. So, you know, they're not, given all the problems some of the other couples are having, they're not the weakest couple, but I don't really see that there's anything there myself. What about you, Chris?
No, I think I'm there with you. And Asa actually pointed out to us both, I didn't realise that her dad's that Tamer Hassan, who's a very good friend of Danny Dyer, who is in every Cockney gangster film, whether it be Green Street, White Street, Red Street, Purple Street. He's in every single one of them crappy
Albert Square,
yeah. He's been in all of them. He's been in every Cockney gangster film you could think of. He's in. Football Factory, I've seen him in. So, UK actor, Danny Dyer's mate. Slight coincidence that his daughter was in it last year. Maybe it's the same agent, I don't know. But again, it could just be the editing, because we've not seen any personality from the girl. She may be lovely, she might be really funny, but unfortunately, because of all the other shit going on in the house, she might just not be getting the airtime because she's actually quite a nice person, because everyone else seems like absolute cocks, don't they? So maybe that's what it is. We'll see. I'll say on that one, Dave. It's interesting, and again, fantastic review from James, so thanks very much, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to get in touch with the show, you can email us at theloveislandcast@gmail.com, or you can get us on Twitter at Love Island Cast, and we're always there. We're always tweeting from 9 till 10 every night. When the show's on, we don't tend to do it on a Saturday, but we have a lot of fun with that, don't we, Chris? So Chris, been another great episode. How are you going to finish us off today?
Well, Dave, I've been thinking about this, and I've called out everyone in the villa plenty of times for the girl code, the guy code. But Anna has got no fucking code. We'll see you next time.